Hey there, Bernie Miklasz with you. Welcome back to another Bernie Miklasz show here on my YouTube channel. Hope you had a great weekend. Some great football games. Really enjoyed that. National championship game tonight, college football. I have a short video predicting the winner a little while from now. I hope got a lot of duties today, as always. Well, the Cardinals' winter warm-up is winding down, and it has been heated up, I think, by some expressions of confidence and optimism by the team's players, including starting pitcher Sonny Gray and the utility player maestro Brendan Donovan and their Mason Wynn. There were a couple more than that. The message from the players themselves, you can call it a reset or retool, call it whatever you like, but we're hungry, we're positive, we're confident that we can surprise a lot of people. Sonny Gray said, for example, winning is still the reason I still play this game. I'm not 100% sold that we can't win here. Talking about the reset. Quote, I've been on teams that have won and done it a different way. There's a lot of really talented players on this team. And if you're looking at this division, there's not a complete standout team. That's Sonny Gray. Gray also, and I like this a lot, he supported the idea of having a younger team. He said he wants to see them develop as leaders and he'll help them develop as leaders. He said, quote, we as older guys, it's our job to lead them and mentor them, but also to let them spread their wings and let them fly. That's the attitude. I like that. Cardinals need to cultivate some new leadership, which will only help them going forward. Speaking about Sonny Gray wanting to stay rather than waive his no trade clause because he really wanted to help the Cardinals see this through. And Wilson Contreras, now the starting first baseman, the same thing. He's got a no trade clause. He didn't want to use it. He wants to stay here and help the Cardinals get this thing going. Brendan Donovan said about Gray and Contreras, and I quote, it shows they believe in their teammates, and that really matters to me. Okay, I like it. I like it. Positive stuff. And you can laugh all you want. I'll explain in a minute when I get to it. Like, you go ahead and laugh at me. I don't care because you're missing the point, and I'll be happy to explain the point here in a little bit. As always, shortstop Mason Wynn is highly motivated. He doesn't really need to be motivated, but he's what I like about him. Maybe he's some of his personality, competitive character traits are going to maybe take root with some others in the clubhouse just because they all, you want to start emulating a player, you emulate Mason Wynn. Seriously, you do. He sees the Cardinals, Mason Wynn, as a determined, hungry team that's out to prove some things, prove a lot of good things. Wynn said, quote, it'll be cool. It's going to be fun for the young guys. Nobody's really established. It's going to be a lot of hungry people that want to go out there and compete. Nobody's secure in their position. Everyone's going to go out there and obviously work their butts off. It's almost like you're competing for a spot. Nobody's comfortable. Everybody's going to go out there and fight every single day, work hard every single day. I think it will be special. I think we can go on a run. Now, that's the most optimistic statements made by Cardinals player in the winter warm-up and players who really matter. Mason Wynn absolutely matters. So what do we make of this? Number one, and this gets to the part where if you're laughing at this, go ahead and laugh. I mean, I think I'm cynical sometimes, but I wouldn't even come close to finishing on the podium if they handed out medals for being cynical. I wouldn't be close. I wouldn't even make the finals on that. Sitting here with this fan base, and I include myself part of the fan base. Number one, it's to be expected. The winter warm-up is a prelude to spring training. It's supposed to be a positive setting filled with happy talk. So why would anybody be surprised with this? Or why would anyone somehow be offended by this? This is the deal. This is the ritual. Ride with it. Number two, I won't belittle the players. Here's where I'm different than maybe some people. I will not belittle the players for being upbeat and having a positive mindset. The owner and the president of baseball operations aren't on the field. That's the difference. Management has put a team together, but on the field, it's up to the players to take control and show us what they can do. They want that responsibility. They're eager to show that they're getting ready to win. I don't see any reason to make fun of that because you know what? They'll determine that. It doesn't matter if whether I'm laughing at them or you're laughing at them or you're saying they're ridiculous or saying, oh, yeah, well, they're right. They're going to win 90. Doesn't matter what we say, but it's okay to talk about it. It doesn't matter what we say. The players want to take control of what happens on the field. They know it's up to them. I appreciate that. And a lot of them really want to take leadership of this. I appreciate that. They need that. And the thing about I don't understand is when I say that I don't see any reason to make fun of it. The idea of a hungry Maverick style underdog team appeals to me. I don't know if it appeals to you. I'm able to see. Here's the difference. I'm able to separate these players from ownership and the front office. Like, you can be mad at Bill DeWitt and John Mozeliak and dislike them as much as you want, but what the heck does that have to do with the players? Why be disdainful about the players or their positive attitude? They don't run the baseball team in the front office or at the ownership level. They just want to get out there and do the best they can, and they're determined to show that this will be a better team than people think. So listen, man, you can be ticked off at DeWitt and Mo and some other people that have been around here a long time. You don't have to like the manager. I mean, that's okay. But why hate on the players? Why ridicule them? I don't get that. But then again, never mind. These fellas are they're putting out a message and making a statement at the warm-up. And I think that's fine. I think it fits into who the warm-up is supposed to be. But I want to see if they can make an even bolder statement as competitors when the real games start. If the players and pitchers do their jobs well and play good winning baseball, then they've done their part. They can only do what they can do because they don't set the payroll. They don't make the trades. They don't sign free agents. They aren't in charge of the draft. They're not in charge of the minor league player development rebuild. Okay. There was some other interesting chatter over the weekend. Mozeliak indicated the payroll cuts will be less than initially expected. And Monday, DeWitt told reporters the Cardinals would not cut payroll elsewhere on the club if Arenado stays, if they can't trade Arenado. The expectation, they can't trade Arenado, well, they're going to have to move a pitcher or two. They're going to have to cut payroll elsewhere. Mo did say that if he has to trim payroll in the event that Arenado remains, rather than trade pitchers, and again, DeWitt said no payroll cuts will be necessary if Arenado stays. But let's just say they want to sign a free agent and maybe they'll have to cut a little or something like that. Mo made a curious statement. He said he doesn't really want to trade any of their pitchers. More on that in a little bit. But such a trade could consist of moving one of their position players. Now, who? Seriously, I'm asking that sincerely. I'm not trying to be snarky. Who? Contreras, the first baseman, makes $18 million a year, but he's got no trade clause and he doesn't want to go anywhere, and the Cardinals are committed to him. Okay, well, where else do you save money by trading a position player? Donovan and Lars Nootbaar, they're in the arbitration process, and as you know, they haven't settled with the Cardinals. But let's just say there's a compromise. Let's just say that combined, Newt and Donovan will sign for about $5.6 million combined. That averages about $2.8 million per player. Both of those players are really important to what the Cardinals are trying to do in 2025. So how do you really, does it really matter if you trade one of them and they're making, say, less than $3 million? I just would like to know what the point is. Like, what's the point? It's not going to make you better to trade them. Probably not. You probably get worse if you trade them. It all depends on what your plans are for the outside market, and more on that as well. Mozeliak said he wants to add from the outside in form of, well, he didn't specify free agency or trade, but he did say bullpen, agreed, right-handed bat, agreed. And I'm not delusional. I know these will be, whatever moves they make to bring players in here, they're going to be economical moves. They won't strain the payroll. There's still some places where they definitely need help. As we said, bullpen and right-handed bat. And Mozeliak seems confident that he'll be able to do that. And I think he's still in that Arenado trade or no trade holding pattern. But what are the chances of the players' optimism being validated? And I don't know how to define how it would be validated. Are we talking about a winning season where the Cardinals do exceed expectations and they play a lot better ball and they're a lot more entertaining and they're a lot more exciting, there's a lot more energy and enthusiasm? They win more, the same, or win more than they did last year, but they don't make the playoffs. Does that validate anything? Again, we're talking about only the players here. Not, well, if the front office would have done that, if DeWitt would have spent more money. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the performance of the players on the field. I'll tell you this much. I don't share Moselek's confidence over the team's pitching, and he continues to talk about Eric Fedde and Miles Michaelis and Steven Matz as if they're going to be here. Now, you'll say, well, that's probably negotiating strategy. I don't care whether there is or not. Until they trade one of those guys or a couple of those guys, I have no reason to just automatically assume this is some kind of negotiation posture. I just don't. And here's the deal. If the Cardinals keep all three of those guys, again, Fedde, Michaelis, and Matz, to go along with Sonny Gray, then that's 4 rotation spots that are taken. And then that leaves 1 spot for Andre Palante. That's 5 starters. And unless something changes, this seems like a pretty ordinary, at best, rotation to me. And one more time, and I'll do it another time. One more time later again. No, but seriously, one more time. I thought this was supposed to be a youth movement. Where are the rotation slots that are supposed to be reserved for Michael McGreevy sooner, or maybe Quinn Matthews a little later, or maybe Tink Hence a little later after Matthews? What if some other, AAA pitcher like Connor Jerpy, for example, just gets off to a lightning start? Where's the room for these guys? So it's easy to say youth movement. We're going, the St. Louis Cardinals are all about the youth in 2025. And I keep making fun of that because the roster that they have right now does not match what they're saying and what they're trying to pitch to the fans and media. So, and where does Zach Thompson, listen, I don't have any expectations for Zach Thompson, Matthew Liberatore, Gordon Graceffo. I'm just naming guys. What happens if some of these guys look like they're ready to be able to help them in the rotation? What do they do? Where is that runway that Mo always talks about? I don't see much runway. Don't see it right now. Subject to change. Don't see it right now. But Mo just got done telling fans over the weekend that he wants to keep all their starting pitchers, doesn't want to trade any of them. I mean, I hope he's bluffing because, again, you can't be serious about calling this we're leaving runway for the young players. You can't say that with a straight face and then pivot and, 5 minutes later say, well, no, we're not. Well, we really want to hold on to our starting pitching. Those two things don't add up. And if the Cardinals are serious about keeping Helsley, their closer, then Moselek clearly thinks the 2025 team can be successful, or else there would be no reason to hold on to Helsley. And successful, again, I don't know how to define it. Is it make the playoffs? Make the playoffs and what, you lose right away? Is it finishing in second place? Maybe. Is there a way to steal the division? I doubt it, but I'm just trying to entertain all of these different theories. So if he really thinks his team can be successful in 2025, and maybe he's fooling himself, and I know he'd want to go out as a quote winner in his final year, John Moselek as president of baseball ops. Well, then I understand why they're going to keep Helsley. I don't agree with it. He's going to leave as a free agent after the year. Maybe they can trade him at the trade deadline. But my point is there's some risk involved in waiting until then. But once again, if you're going to keep Helsley because you think you can win, maybe, and you're basically saying you think you can contend, then don't you have to strengthen some other parts of the team? Don't you have to strengthen the bullpen part itself? Andrew Kittredge was a really valuable setup man last year, and he just signed as a free agent with Baltimore. And I keep hearing people, my media friends, they say, well, they still have some good guys down there. They have JoJo Romero. Let's stop right there. Look, I like JoJo Romero. he was lights out early in the season. In the first month of the season, he had a strikeout rate of about 31%, and then he stopped missing bats, and he went through a pretty extended rut. But here's the bottom line: everyone is just like pencils JoJo Romero in as a shutdown reliever. Maybe he will be. Maybe he will be. I'm just pointing out that after the first month of the season last year, JoJo Romero had a strikeout rate of 18%. When you go from 31% in your first month to 18% over the next 5 months, there was 1 month in there that wasn't bad. You're not getting the swing and miss. You're not getting the strikeouts. You'll have to pardon me if I don't sign off on this idea that JoJo's going to be great in 2025. I hope he is. I like watching him pitch. 18% strikeout rate from a guy who used to strike out almost double that number. Okay, if you say so, I don't have to agree with it. For them, for the Cardinals players, for their optimism to be validated, listen, the offensive improvement must come from within. And while that's certainly possible, and I have some other stuff on this, which I'll get into in another video at another time, but much of this, as we know, we've said it a million times, it depends on Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman turning into legitimate impact hitters and staying there for a long while. Not so many extremes, ups and downs. But here we go again, and I'm sorry, because maybe it is boring to you, but here we go again with all of this youth movement. We're going to play the young guys. We're going to play the kids. We're giving them runway. We're giving them all kinds of runway. I'm just not buying that. As if you would just grab the first thing in a store that the merchant's trying to sell you. I'd say, whoa. Well, let me examine this product. Let me examine this like what you're trying to sell me here. I worked some numbers over the weekend that, to me, raise even more questions about the play the kids marketing slogan, right? As of now, one position, talking about the offense, one position has changed from last year. One, Paul Goldschmidt wasn't offered a contract, and catcher Wilson Gutierrez is moving to first base. Okay. And he'll be on the lineup more often because presumably he'll stay healthier. But the guys who are taking over at catcher, while I think it's great that Ivan Herrera was going to get more at bats, at least I hope. But if you go back and look at the stats, I mean, Herrera and Pages played a lot last season. So for them to play a lot this year, maybe they will play more this year, but they played quite a bit last season. So I can't say the Cardinals are going to have, quote, a new catcher. And I don't trust that Oli Marmol is going to play the guy he needs to play the most to boost this offense, which is Ivan Herrera, and also to give him a chance. He's got to catch enough to be able to improve on his defensive work, his flaws there. So, yeah, kind of new at catcher, but not really. If Nolan, here's the key stat. If Nolan Arenado is not traded, the 2025 Cardinals will return 11 of the top 12 hitters last season in terms of who made the most plate appearances. 11 of the top 12 top guys for most at-bats will be back. They'll be back. 11 of the top 12 from last year will be back. The only subtraction is Goldschmidt. Yeah, there's other subtractions, but the point is they weren't among that group of 12 who had the most at-bats last season. You know, Brandon Crawford and Matt Carpenter don't count. They're not coming back, number one, but that's not even it. They weren't in that group of 12 that had the most at-bats last season. But even if Arenado is traded, the simple math tells us the 2025 Cardinals would still be returning 10 of their 12 top hitters last year in terms of who had the most at-bats. Four of those guys were below average in the league average in 2024, and four others were at least 10. Only four others were at least 10% above the league average offensively. If you go by OPS plus, Contreras, Herrera, Donovan, and Nootbaar. Point is, there's a lot of mediocrity in this offense. That part hasn't changed. The only thing that can change is if Contreras, having 550, 600 at bats, because he only played 84 games last year with injuries. Walker and Gorman, as we alluded to, coming up big. Nootbaar playing a lot, adding all of his different attributes, but he's got to be on the field to do that. Maybe there's room for improvement for Donovan. Maybe take more walks, get on base more, things like that. They really need to jack up their on-base percentage. Mason Wynn can probably get better in some ways. His on-base percentage needs to go up. I'm just leaving avenues, some doors open for the possibility of improvement. But until we see the improvement, this is still a pretty mediocre set of hitters as a group. And I will say this, I think I mentioned it earlier, unexpectedly good performances are possible. We've seen that a lot through the years. The Cardinals will need some surprises offensively and on the mound. And because I was looking through year by year, all the teams that made the postseason for the Cardinals since DeWitt took over in '96. And it's pretty uncanny. And I will do a video on this. It's pretty uncanny. How many young, inexperienced, as in major leagues, players and pitchers have come through for some of the Cardinals' really good teams that started in 2000 and ended through 2015. So again, I'm going to get back on this at another time. But I'll say this, that I was looking at all these young Cardinals and hitters and pitchers through that 16-year period. And I'm not talking just about the big superstars. I'm talking about other dudes that came along. And it's much more than you assume. I mean, I still get people telling me, well, you know, they had Pujols and Molina and Waino. Who else did they develop? Oh my goodness. There are times I actually really do want to give up. I'll be happy to do a video to enlighten the doubters, but even then, they'll still be doubters. That's all right. But after seeing all those names and what they did, take a look at the 2013 Cardinals, for example. Go look at that pitching staff. Wouldn't it be nice if the Cardinals could get back to developing important players and pitchers that play prominent roles on a championship caliber club? Because that's what they've been missing, and they've been missing it for a long time. That's why they continue to be chasing the Milwaukee Brewers, even though the Cardinals have spent about $470 million more than the Brewers since 2017. You know why? Because the Brewers are smarter. They spend their money more efficiently, and they draft and develop, and they tap the international market a better way than the Cardinals have been doing. But I know, right? It's all payroll, right? Spend more, right? Yeah. Yeah, I know you. Just kidding. That's the thing, again, that is so interesting to me, because Mozeliak, and I don't know whether maybe there's been enough media scrutiny in this. I mean, I know I've yapped about it a lot. Maybe not enough attention's being paid to this, because when he keeps talking about giving opportunities to the young guys, first of all, they're bringing the same team back, and they're bringing the same rotation back. That's what they're telling us. And then if you look in the minors, and this is important, they really don't have much in terms of position players that qualify as close to being major league ready. Oh, I'm not talking about guys who can come up and sit on the bench and, play for a couple of weeks, and then because you have an injury and then you send them back. I'm talking about real impact guys who can make your team better. They don't have that, not unless the Cards plan to rush their top-rated hitting prospect, J.J. Weatherholt, to the majors, right? I mean, Chase Davis got a while to go, I think. I don't rule him out, but I'm just saying not in 2025, not till late in the season maybe. Now, the Cardinals do have two or three promising starting pitchers in development, but other than Palante, who will be 26 years old next season, Mozeliak, if he stays with what he is telling us, he's packed the rotation with four other starters who average 34.25 years old. Where's the runway for the young guys? I see old guys on the runway. I don't see young guys. So when guys like Donovan and Wynn and some of the other Cardinals talk and they tell us how they believe in this team, I don't question their sincerity. I actually look forward to watching a team that they speak of, a team that's hungry and edgy, is going to play the game with aggressiveness. What I can't do is predict how many games they'll win, because the current front office regime really isn't committed to a legitimate reset, and they're not really committed to adding impact help more like serviceable help. And as of right now, the 2025 Cardinals are going to return largely the same team that they had in 2024, minus Goldie, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, Kittredge, Matt Carpenter, and a couple of low-key additions between now and the start of the regular season won't change the substance of my opinion on this. But there is a difference, and I'm going to say it for a final time in closing. When the players talk and they are genuinely enthusiastic and excited about 2025, I know they are coming from a sincere place. They are speaking from a sincere place. But when members of management talk, they're coming from a very confusing place, and a place that is filled with contradictions. All you got to do is look at the roster that they have in hand right now to know that this youth movement isn't really a youth movement at all. It's saying that it is. And yes, some players will get more at bats. And yes, I'm trusting that they'll stick with Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman and let them ride out tough spots rather than panicking and send them to the minor leagues. But when is a youth movement not really a youth movement? Well, at the moment, all you got to do is look what the Cardinals have put together for 2025, and there's your answer. Maybe it'll change. I think it'll change when Chaim Bloom is in charge. That'll do it for now. I will be back later with a brief video, not that anybody watches it, with my college football picks. I've done well during the college football playoffs, so hopefully we'll do well again tonight, just in terms of picking. I just want to watch a good game more than anything. All right, that's enough for now. Bye-bye.